What's up? It's the Brunch Breakdown. Dan, hi. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you, my friend. Been a couple weeks since we've connected, but I'm in a great mood, and I know you are as well. So really good to see you.
Yeah. Sometimes we start with very random topics that Dee Dee throws at us. I think the only random topic for me that would be top of mind would be to talk about Pitt football being 5-0. But I know that outside of you and me, there's probably no one that listens to this podcast that wants to hear us talk about that. And we got a little bit of it out of the way before we hit record. So
We did, we did. We almost went into full Chris and Dan podcast mode, and the hour would have been gone by, and we went, "Oh shit,
I
we
know. I
forgot to
was
cover."
like, we started talking about defensive line depth, and that's when you
Yeah,
know, like, this is the point of no return. So,
right.
are we going to
Different
do a
audience,
podcast
different
today, or
platform. Right.
yeah,
Or are we just gonna break down film like we used to every week?
yeah? But we won't do that. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. We have a absolutely stacked brunch court. Okay, we're going to talk about the what we've been drinking lately, in addition to board games as drinking games. We have that as a topic. What else do we have on the rundown today, Dan? We're going to talk about our Halloween candy lineup. We got music on the menu. We got a lot of good stuff on the menu. So, like I said, y'all don't need to hear us talk about players that don't even really matter. Let's get into the good stuff. Dan, tell people where they can find this podcast that they're already listening to.
Certainly, I'd most be pleased to. Yeah, I guess if you found us, you know all these things, right? But just in case you need to tell somebody else, if somebody's like, "I don't have an iPhone, I don't have Apple Podcasts,"
Then they're not a friend.
then first of all, defriend immediately.
Yeah.
Um, my wife has an Android, and we're not friends, so that's still to this day. Green text messages suck. So,
Oh,
but
oh.
to those people, if you're like, listen, we're not friends, but here's something I think you should try and listen to. We're everywhere else too that podcasts are available.
True.
The Spotify's, the Googles, the SoundClouds, the Stitchers, the iHeartRadios, the Amazons, the Odysseys, the Audibles, the Good Pods, all of those people, and many, many more. We bring you a new episode each and every Wednesday. So hit follow or hit subscribe wherever you prefer to listen, and then episode right to you. That's simple, right to you. Okay, just like that. Just like that. Full video episodes. We have those as well. They also get released every Wednesday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Those are a little bit more timely. They're not going to be right to you, but if you wait, if you're there at noon, you're there for the premiere. But you can watch anytime you want to watch after that on YouTube, Facebook, and on Spotify. The videos on Spotify as well. We're everywhere on social media at Brunch Breakdown. And then, of course, we give you, we talk music every week. We'll give you the sounds of brunch. We update that exclusively on Spotify every Friday. So tell Siri, tell Alexa, tell Rufus, play me the sounds of brunch. I'm not
I,
letting that go.
I don't want you to. I want us to mention Rufus every single week on this podcast because for all the times that I mean, hundreds of episodes,
Yeah.
thousands of hours, I still, I think that I've laughed so hard on this podcast so many times. I think that's the hardest I've laughed. I got visually red and like veins were
You
popping out of
did.
my neck. It was,
You did.
and then I
An
tried to
all-time clip.
regroup. I tried to regroup and start, and then I had to restart. Like that was,
You did. Yeah.
man.
An all-time clip. If you're not following us on social media, you're not finding the clips that we pull. Maybe you just listen. The visual aid to go along with that segment is everywhere on our social media pages from just a couple of weeks ago with Rufus, and Chris's reaction is extremely priceless.
I about passed out. It was very, very funny.
You
Um,
did.
and of course, Dee Dee was the
Yeah.
person who
Who?
mentioned that, and he's not here today. So,
Yeah. How do you like that, Mister? Call me out. Where
not,
you at, brother?
and I'm not sure where he is. My hypothesis is because last week we talked about Disney, and Dee Dee at the end of the episode suggested Great Wolf Lodge. He said it's like the
Thank you.
best thing ever, indoor water park type of resort situation. And I really think what happened is he talked about it to such a passionate degree that he decided to go there, and that's why he can't be with us. That's my prediction. But
I've got some insight into that. I believe he did go there, and he's suffering from major athlete's foot as a result, as one would with an indoor amusement park, water park.
Uh-oh.
So, buyer beware.
Uh-oh. Yeah, get your water shoes
That's
on.
actually not. I don't want to say that's not true, but because it could be, but I don't actually know that. Just to put it out there.
That's okay. One of my favorite things about this podcast is we just the things that we say, we just decide that they're real. And
Yeah, and I get questions about them all the time
yeah, we
from our
all do.
listeners.
The,
So
the
thank
entire
you.
week I was in Disney, I was fielding because Katie's brothers listen to shout out Mike, Dan. They're probably listening right now. Thanks for listening
Yeah.
and downloading. But they always have, a comment or two about things that we talk about on the podcast. So, that's always fun. But sometimes when they bring it up, I'm like, say what now? And then I have to be reminded that we talked about some like really random, stupid thing that's completely even made up. But that's the beauty of the brunch breakdown. So, Dan,
Chris,
you
maybe you
were,
can.
yeah, what's up?
I was gonna say maybe you can help with this. I think we need a platform somewhere for our listeners to get together and just talk amongst themselves.
Yeah.
And the feedback that they gave us, they should talk amongst themselves. They do this on the Jim Rome program. There's been like a listener of his for years, and then they have like other listeners on and they recap the show. So I think our listeners need that, some sort of platform where they can get together, whether it's a Facebook community group, just a little chat, something like that, and then they can just talk shit on us there rather than write directly to ourselves.
Well,
and
if
ask
we're gonna
questions.
if we're gonna create that for people, we might as well monetize it. So like let's make it a
Right.
Patreon. You could pay
Yeah.
us five
It's all
bucks
part
a
of the
month.
platform.
Yeah, you could pay us $5 a month to join a community where you can talk shit about us with other people. And then we, since we're moderating it, will read it. And so then that we
Yes.
we receive your feedback and your shit
We
talk.
hear you. We
Yeah.
see you. We hear you. We want you to be part of the community. All right. We've really stumbled onto something big here. I think we're gonna have
Yeah.
to bring in Dee Dee next week and round this out. I mean, we have the majority vote, so it doesn't really matter what he says, but we're doing it.
That's true. Yeah, 2 out of 3 wins. So,
Right.
Dan, since you were not here last week, I would like to afford you the opportunity to get something off of your chest.
Thank you, because I absolutely need to do that.
I thought
This
you
is a
might.
perfect, yeah, this is a perfect time that I'm going to take this moment to respond to a pretty serious allegation levied against me on the podcast last week while I was watching the greatest band on planet Earth. Um, I did reach out to some of our great friends and listeners, by the way, who would naturally be part of this community group in Cleveland, which is where I was because the greatest band in the world decided not to come to the greatest city in the world this time. So I had to drive to Cleveland, Ohio again. And I said, hey, friends, I'll be in town signing autographs, podcast autographs. And if you can, come, let's grab a beer before the show. One of them actually did. So shout out to Pete. You get the shout out. Thank you, Pete. Good to see you. He made some time for me, and it was a busy day. But others who couldn't join offered to meet up for brunch the next day instead, which right up my alley, right? Right? That's your boy right
That's
here.
what we thought, Dan.
That's what you thought. However,
Uh-oh, here we go.
there's a vital piece of information that happened to be left out in that scandalous report about me just nonchalantly saying no to brunch with friends.
Yeah.
I was with two other people that weren't familiar with said group of friends on this trip. So that meant their input had equal weight in kind of what we do the whole trip. And since we had to stay overnight in Cleveland, it felt like a punishment. But since we had to do that, that obviously, came with a price tag. They elected, you know what, the free hotel breakfast is fine. Let's save a few bucks. Let's just do that. We got to be on the road by 10:30 a.m. after a late night. So pretty quick turnaround. And Chris, I actually think you, of all people, would certainly understand based on your stance on sleep. It was helpful for me to get as much sleep as I could, still without kids, and a late night and kind of an early turnaround in the morning. So I certainly think you would acknowledge, an extra effort to get up early for brunch might be maybe not so smart
So
after a long weekend.
You were thinking about your health.
Thinking about my health.
Yeah.
Thinking about my health. Exactly. Exactly. Because I would never turn down a brunch invitation with dear friends.
You're so
Just
mad. You're so mad about
just to save a buck. Okay. I would
If
never
you're
do
not
that.
watching, you need to like Dan is his face is serious right
Yeah. The vein is about to really, yeah, come through here. Good thing this isn't in 4K. However, when I'm with other people who I'm driving with, I have to take into account their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Also, just as important, free hotel breakfast. You're like, Dan, you're better than that. Anyways, grab a bagel for crying out loud. I want to shout out the Drury Hotel in downtown Cleveland.
The Chris Drury Hotel.
Chris Drury Hotel. I can honestly tell you this with a straight face that this is the best free hotel breakfast I have ever had anywhere. Honestly, I'm not just saying that. We've talked about eggs, hotel eggs, the wet hotel eggs on this podcast many a time.
Yeah.
Shockingly not wet and delicious. Stunning. I like went over, I almost just skipped over the eggs. Did a little one of these little deep dive, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's no water in here. This is promising. They also had somebody making like it was fresh pancakes like right in front of you.
Oh, so they had
right out there.
That's always a good sign, man. If there's somebody actually in there cooking, that's normally a good sign.
Yes. And it was like right out in the open, like it was a hibachi restaurant. I was like, this is amazing. And he's just flapjacking them up. And they were delicious. They were delicious.
That's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt. Flapjack
mom. He was killing it. And they had a huge selection of hot foods and actually like really good coffee. It was like some brand name coffee. It wasn't just like mud water. So I just wanted to shout out the Drury Hotel because ended up being a delightful little surprise. And I just wanted to clear my name and tell everyone I'm good. Health is good. Everything's fine mentally, physically, because I got some good sleep and a great free hotel breakfast. And Cleveland friends, sorry, it couldn't work out this time. But I had other people with me. It's that simple. So I needed to tell the whole story here on this program. And thank you.
Well, if there's drama out there, the best place to clear the air is on the airwaves of the Brunch Breakdown podcast, Dan. So thank you for doing that. Yes. We've always talked about BrunchCon being in Vegas, but now I'm wondering if BrunchCon should be at the Chris Drury Inn so that we get this breakfast. Okay.
I'm telling you. And it was, I mean, there was a lot of people down there. I'm like, damn, this is a busy breakfast. This is a big hotel. I'm like, now I know why. People probably just roaming off the streets like a damn good breakfast.
Shout out to Chris, man. Now we know what he's doing in his post-hockey career. That's fantastic.
Shouts to him.
Is any of the, do you ever, so these two mystery guests, at any point in time, because I know, I mean, our friends in Cleveland are, your friends in Cleveland are my friends in Cleveland. They are our friends in Cleveland because we went to college together. Does it ever cross your mind that like people who may not know them aren't ready for brunch with that assemblage of human beings?
1,000%. 1,000%. That absolutely was a factor. 100%. And like, I knew we were going to need lots of runway. And as I mentioned, we need to be on the road at 10:30. So like, we're talking like 8:30 brunch. Can we even get anywhere that's not like a breakfast place? Like if they want to have brunch, you have mimosa, right? Those type of things. You don't have to, but you know, true brunch is, and we would need and a lot of runway that early in the morning with those friends, meeting them, most of them for the first time. Nobody was ready for that. And then to sit in a car with me for 2 hours afterwards and wondering who I am and who are these strangers.
Yeah, you're going to have to field questions for 2 hours.
Lots of questions.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, love these people, but like, yeah, the intermeshing of the groups would have been really too much to handle. So I was just looking out for other people.
That's a good point. Like
people helping people.
People helping people. Yeah. I think when I look at because you and me have like our overlap of friend groups, we probably have like most of our friend groups that we have in our lives are the same, like more than 50%, probably closer to 80%.
Yeah.
And so, like, as I think of the friend groups that I have, I know all of our friends from college are called the Neighbor Boys. And I know that they listen to this podcast. And I know that they're going to feel some type of way about this discussion, but I think that they would probably agree with what I'm about to say is that my our friend group from college is definitely, if you were to put a stranger in it, we are very welcoming, but a stranger would have such a difficult time following along. Like,
Yes.
way it would be way
Yes.
harder than if you got together with like my high school friends, or like, you, me and Dee Dee and like that group. Like, I think our college friends just a different thing, man. When you spend 4 years drinking with people in college, like, it's just different. It's hard to bring outsiders into that, so I understand.
It is. It's not an embarrassment of them, and don't take it that way, gentlemen. The two people I would have been with would have been so out of their element. In particular, the people I was with, they wouldn't have been able to get a word in. We'd have been
Yeah.
telling stories the whole time, and they've been like, "Thanks for bringing me to the reunion. Let's go home."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for clearing the air, Dan. It's good to know.
Yes. Thank
And
you for the opportunity.
once we launch our Patreon, I'm excited to hear what they all think about your explanation
Yeah.
here.
Great. No, yeah. The text messages it's just gonna blow up on Wednesday. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna get nasty. All right. I want to get something off my chest that's completely random, Dan. But I've been thinking a lot about lockers
Love it.
the last few days. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
and I was listening to the Pat McAfee show, and they talked about lockers in high school. And it had me thinking and reminded me that I have had this recurring dream, this recurring nightmare. I think we all have them. It's like one or two dreams that you'll have a handful of times throughout the year. I have one where I show up for high school and I don't know the combination to my locker.
Mhm.
And it's just disaster city, right? And of course in the dream I probably am like already running late to something that I need to be at, like a final exam or something, and then I don't hit that, and then I don't go to call, and like everything, my life falls apart, right?
Right.
Um, and on the Pat McAfee show, they mentioned something about how like lockers are not they're schools are moving away from lockers. It's becoming less and less of a thing. And so I was like, that can't be true. Looked it up. It actually is true. Okay. Apparently, because of technology, right? And we have
Yeah.
a computer that basically has everything that you need, or a phone that has everything. Like, I don't carry around a wallet anymore because I have 3 credit cards that fit in the back of my phone case. And so I don't carry all the other stuff that I would have in my wallet. This is kind of like the same situation where kids with school and the technology that school uses, and how tech savvy kids are nowadays. In a lot of school districts, they are moving away from individual lockers for every single student, because students just have like a couple things in their backpack and they just take their backpack around with them all day. And also, because of that,
Wow.
they don't have a 50-pound backpack that they're, getting back spasms from every week, because they have these huge textbooks that are like 300 pages. And it's, it, I don't know.
No textbooks. Yeah.
Yeah, I hit these moments where I realize how long it's been since I've done X, Y, or Z. And this is another one where I'm like, my kids, like, lockers will feel like what I heard stories about in the 70s. That's what the lockers will sound like to my kids. And then they're not going to have to worry about like memorizing their combination lock. And you remember like the friend groups that emerged because your lockers were all together? I remember
Yes.
my locker was on. I vividly remember, Dan, where all of our friends gathered in high school every morning, because a
Same.
bunch of our friends had like lockers near kind of like a nook thing that had a window. And in the morning, my locker was on the other side of the hallway. I would just go to my locker real quick, get what I needed, and then we would all hang out in that space. So like that's becoming less and less of a thing. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
There were memories made there, and some resiliency that was built by having your own locker. And it makes me sad that kids aren't going to have that experience.
That's fascinating. I had no idea.
Yeah.
that was moving so quickly in that direction. I'm gonna have to ask my nephew and nieces when I see them in a couple of weeks if they have lockers. Are they familiar with lockers? Do you have textbooks anymore?
Right.
Yeah, there's so much. That was a part of the day. That was a part of the day. If I wasn't 5 lockers down from Sean Lee, I wouldn't be able to sniff greatness every morning. You know what I'm saying? Like those opportunities just didn't come around. Okay.
True.
So,
True.
wow. Wow. I mean, that's a shame. That's a shame, really. There's
Yeah.
nothing like a. I mean, what about your coat and shit? You're just carrying your coat around everywhere?
Dude, I don't know. And like,
What do they
so
have like?
what I read is like they're some schools, and I guess it's like we're in the early stages of it. Like it's when they renovate schools now, they're like thinking differently. And they do it with the classrooms too, where it's more like active learning classrooms as opposed to everybody sitting in a desk for 45 minutes or however long the period is. Like all
Uh-huh.
that stuff is being reimagined now. So a lot of schools still have lockers, but it seems like as schools get built or as they get renovated, they're kind of doing away with it and moving towards like hoteling lockers. So if you need one for the
Oh goodness.
day, you can check one out or something
What is
like
this?
that.
Kennywood, and you get the little key, and you
Yeah. Yeah, right.
amusement park. I gotta put my stuff in here.
Yeah. But and so then it made
Wow.
me think like what's going to happen to libraries?
Oh geez. R.I.P.
Are there
Future
going to be
libraries.
yeah, they're going to be no libraries and it's just going to be like a big room where you can sit down and study or something? That's like a big it's going to be like the quiet room is what it's going to be. Like
Yeah, our high school had a massive library. I don't know what that's. I mean, it's a ton of space they could do something else with, but
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. It's crazy,
Jeez.
man.
Going
Times
back to Cubbies.
are
We're going back to Cubbies. That's what we're doing.
yeah. Times
Jeez.
are changing. But I
I don't like it.
my kids will never understand my dream that I have. That
No.
that that
Right.
abs it stresses me out every time and they'll never understand. Remember how you used to put paper in the lock thing so that you didn't have to do the combination because it would never go
Yeah, right.
fully?
Just
You could just open it up.
yeah. Those stories. We're the last generation where those
Hmm.
stories will be told.
Hmm.
That's sad.
Some would say some have called us the greatest generation, Dan.
Some have said that.
Many of those people are on this podcast, but
Yes. It's
neither
gotta
here nor
start
there.
somewhere.
Okay. With that said, I guess we got to get into drinks before we dive into the main course here on the menu.
Yeah.
Dan, what have you been sipping on this week?
Um, Chris, it's the most wonderful time of the year, of course.
Oh yeah.
Fall. It's certainly feeling like fall in the Northeast for the first time, finally. Um, and that means, all the things pumpkin, all the things autumnal, and that means the best beers of the time of the year. And Southern Tier, well known for pumpkin, right? And they have a variety. The Warlock, some others. Pumpkin runs strong, runs true. They have introduced a new pumpkin flavor this year that is being considered for permanent rotation.
Uh-oh.
And for us, that is the pecan pumpkin. And I thought they have a pecan and a maple. And I thought, bring them on. That's what your boy's here for. I will say the maple's a little bit too sweet, just a tad.
Mm.
A full pour it's difficult. You have that in a flight. It's a sweet one. The pecan, that's your winner. That is your winner. Roasted pecans, caramel, cinnamon, nutmeg, and vanilla. Um, it is absolutely now one of my favorite pumpkin varieties out of all of them. It has this nuttiness of pecan, which balances it because pumpkin is sweet kind of anyways. And so it brings that nuttiness kind of balances it super, super well. It drinks really fresh. And I mean, shout out to the king, the pumpkin, that the pecan pumpkin is one of the greatest varieties that Southern Tier has ever released. And I will be having many of those this fall. It's delicious.
Nice. Might be a good one to have at a pit tailgate this fall, Dan.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. I
We
like the
got
sound of that.
we got
Yeah,
one of those coming up here in about a week.
we do.
Looking
Perfect
forward to
timing.
it.
I like
All
it. What
right.
about you?
I like it. I have one that's a holdover from the Disney trip. It's not a beer, so I wanted to feature it. Uh, one of the days we went to Epcot, which is famous for its alcohol for parents, right? There are lots of videos on the internet of people going around and drinking around the world in Epcot,
Yes.
which, by the way, you better
Challenging.
save up some money if you want to do that. And also, you're not going to survive it. But I didn't try that. I didn't try that. I had one drink while I was at Epcot. Oh, that's a lie. I had two drinks while I was at Epcot. The first one, though, was my favorite. And I got it in part because of this podcast's affinity with blood orange. Okay. I have a picture of it, and hopefully it'll show up here. I got the
Oh,
blood orange margarita at a Mexican restaurant that was kind of themed after the movie Coco. For those listeners who have seen the movie Coco, it's
yes.
arguably my favorite Disney movie, but absolutely delicious, refreshing,
Wow.
just what you need in the middle of a hot day during hurricane season in Florida. And it was well timed, given given the true task that it is to get seven kids walking around the world in Epcot. So it was delivered at a timely part of the day. It refreshed me. It took the edge off a little bit, which I greatly appreciated. So I don't remember the
Yeah.
restaurant's name, but shout out to Coco.
Shout out to Coco. That looks delicious.
It was
It looked
delicious.
really good. The rim also looked like it was blood orange red-ish in shade. Is that a salt? Is that a sugar? What do you got going on there?
It was a mixture of spices. Actually, let me see if I
Ooh,
took the picture of the menu. I don't know if I did. It doesn't look like I did. Oh, I did. So it was Tromba Blanco tequila, blood orange vodka, gin leger black currant liqueur, uh, Dos Hombres Mezcal. A lot of these things, I don't know what they are, but for what you asked
damn!
about,
There's a
man.
lot of alcohol in that thing.
Yeah, bro. That's why I said it took the edge off. It
Woo!
says Tahine chili lime powder on the
Oh,
rim.
oh yes.
So once
All
again,
about the tahini.
that's a brunch breakdown favorite is the tahine. So that's what they put
Yes.
around the rim. Um, and callback, I did end up trying those tahine outshine bars.
Yeah, the mango
Was
tahini.
was not a fan, but the tahine
Come on.
on this margarita was absolutely delightful. So yeah,
Wow. 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 I have one of those in my freezer right now. They're delicious. Those mango tahini popsicles.
there you go.
Fantastic. All right.
Well,
Excellent.
good stuff. Hopefully Dee Dee's sipping on something great at
Better be. Probably had too much where he was. Yeah.
great at the Wolf's Lodge. All right, Dan, what do you want to dive into? We have a candy lineup, we have brunch court, and we have drinking games. What would you like to do first here?
Let's see. Let's do the Halloween candy lineup.
All right, let's do it. Let me find it here. So this is one of those classic ones where they give you a bunch of different options, and then you have to and like a budget, right? And so then
Yeah.
you
You have
have to,
$15. Yeah. You
yeah.
have $15. Everything's given a dollar value. So the famous debate of quantity versus quality, and what you do there. So you're given $15. And you'll see once again, this is why you got to get to the video episode. Hello,
There
people.
we go. You seen it now?
There we go. Yep, seeing it now. So to run these down quickly for our non-video audience, uh, $5 is Reese's Cups, Twix, Kit Kats, Snickers, and peanut M&Ms. $4 Milky Way, Reese's Pieces, Crunch Bar, Butterfinger, and Starburst. $3 Sour Patch Kids, Three Musketeers, traditional M&Ms, Junior Mints, and Skittles. $2 Baby Ruth, Hershey's, a traditional Hershey's bar, Nerds, Swedish Fish, and Airheads. And then finally in the $1 category, Warheads, Candy Corn, Tootsie Pops, Tootsie Rolls, and Gummy Bears.
Mm.
A very eclectic, interesting mix of candies here. Chris, I have some thoughts before we dive into this, and we give our budgeted selection. of candies here. First of all, I do want to say this. You and I have, and me and many of other people, but you and I have a history of disagreeing on Snickers versus Milky Way, dating all the way back to the Chris and Dan podcast.
Mm,
And we had a poll, and I do recall becoming victorious in that poll.
whatever.
And I just wanted to point out here that the Snickers is worth $5 and the Milky Way is worth $4. So again, the value, it's right there. Proof in the
Hey,
pudding.
you're an idiot. You're paying too much for a candy bar. That's what it is.
Too much for nuts. Uh, um, I do also think that Reese's Pieces are extremely overvalued in the $4 category.
Yeah.
I don't know what your feelings are there. That just doesn't seem right at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's it's weird that those are even on here in the absence of regular M&Ms.
Regular M's in the $3 category,
Wait,
right
oh,
there,
they are.
right there in the
Oh,
middle. Yeah,
okay, then they should be
but
swapped at the
also
very
that's a good
least.
point out. That's a good point out. They're not better than regular M&Ms.
Yeah, and I feel like people in general are more likely to gravitate to regular M&Ms than peanut M&Ms, but peanut M&Ms are in the $5 category. And if you look through the $5 category, you got peanut M&Ms and Snickers, which has, as you said, nuts. So
Nuts.
the person who made this graphic, I think is a big fan of nuts.
Big nut fan right here.
Big
This
nut
guy,
guy, big nut girl.
this person. Big. And the last thing I want to point out is three of the $1 items are way better than the traditional Hershey's milk chocolate bar, which is valued at $2. The Tootsie Pop, the Tootsie Roll, the Gummy Bear are way better than a traditional just plain milk chocolate Hershey's bar, and it's half the price. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
And we're doing this without DD because he likes candy corn, and candy corn is on here at $1. It shouldn't even be $1. It should be you get paid $1. You get $1 back if you take
Yeah.
candy corn.
Yeah, I already could tell you what Didi would have done. He would have gotten Sour Patch Kids 4 times and
Yep.
then 3 candy corns. That's what he would have done. And then if he had extra money, he would have gotten Nerds because he's a fucking nerd. Okay, let's dive
Yeah.
into it. Do you wanna go shot by shot, or do you think we should each just do our lineup? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do our lineup. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off? You got $15.
Yeah, $15.
Where are you going? How much? Because again, it's quantity versus quality here. Because you could line up with three great $5 items, but then you only have three. So
Yeah.
how'd you go about this? What do you like?
Well, so I kind of went. I went from top to bottom and first identified my favorite item in that row to kind of help me get my budget straight
Okay.
here. Um, I am a huge fan of Kit Kats. Huge fan of just like wafers are. People don't talk enough about wafers, Dan. People should be talking more about wafers. Okay, so big Kit Kat fan, and I like the volume of it, even if it's physically maybe not as big as some of the other candy options. Just the fact
Sure.
that you break it in four, it feels like you're getting a lot. Okay.
Good
So I
value. Good value.
started with a Kit Kat. And then as you referenced, obviously going to take the Milky Way in row number two. So I'm at
Classic.
$9 here. I'm at $9. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, I am also, Dan, people also don't talk enough about nougat. Not enough nougat talk out there. All right. But I'm a big fan of the noug. So I'm gonna get some Three Musketeers in my life.
Wow.
All right. So
Okay.
Kit Kat, Milky Way, Three Musketeers. That's taking me to $12. I got $3 to mess around with, right? And
Yep.
that's perfect because we have the $2 row, we have the $1 row. Now this is where things get difficult, Dan.
Ooh. Okay.
This is where things
Oh,
get.
you're going Swedish Fish here. You're a Swedish Fish guy.
Can I just say the warhead looks like bologna?
It really does.
It looks
You picked the worst picture of a warhead.
it looks totally unappetizing. So
It's
I
a
didn't.
slice of balloon.
Yeah, toss it in my candy bucket, please. Thank you.
Hey, it'll go well with this capicola I got from down the street. Thanks.
Um, since I have $3 left, and since I am a fan of volume, I'm skipping the $2 row. skipping the $2 row. I'm going
Ooh,
for
okay.
three $1 items. And Dan, as you so astutely noticed earlier when you were running this thing down,
Thank you.
Tootsie Pop, Tootsie Roll, gummy bears. Get me a little bit of flavor in here. So early
Yeah.
on, I go Kit Kat, Milky Way, Three Musketeers, a lot of chocolate, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tootsie Roll still is a little bit of chocolate, but then you get the Tootsie Pop, a little bit of fruit flavor. You get the gummy bears, a lot of fruit flavor. I think it's going to balance out the palate really nicely, get me some variety and flavor that my candy basket needs. And I'm going to go home a happy boy on this Halloween.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great, well balanced breakfast there for you.
Thank you.
I will say I'm stunned that you didn't go Starburst, and then slightly less stunned you didn't go Skittles. That's Chris Gates right there,
It is.
especially Starburst,
It is. It
especially
is.
Starburst. But I get I understand the balance with everything there. So interesting. I almost took the same path you did. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I considered that.
Which can I say is a flaw of this graphic? Because I think normally you're supposed to
Yes.
have them all add up to more than you can get for the total.
Yes, I never like that where you shouldn't have to. It makes it seem like it's a pick one in each category. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a flaw there. I don't like that. Um, I've got to start out with just basically the goat of all candies, the Reese's cups. How am I passing on Reese's cups? I'm not. I can't do it. Won't do it. $5. Take it all. And then I was gonna shift categories and go down to $4, but I am a huge fan of Twix. There's just nothing like it.
They're good.
There's really nothing like it. That cookie crunch. You talk about wafers, like give me 1,000 wafers and make it a cookie crunch and call it a Twix, and it's delicious. So I forked up $10 right there out of 15 on Reese's and Twix, but they're in the $5 category for a reason, and I'm spending a little bit extra to bring those home with me. Now, how do we go bang for the buck? After that, got to try to save a little bit of money. We only have $5 left. So I'm looking in that $3 category, and I am going Skittles for the same reason you did. We got the chocolate. We got the plenty of chocolate starting off. So give me some Skittles. Nice balance there. Some fruit flavors. Skittles at $3. So that brings me up to $13 for the mathematics keeping score at home. I got $2 left.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Got some, again, we talked about the $2 category. Not a lot of strength in there.
Just fill it with bologna. Fill it with bologna.
Yeah. Fill it with bologna. Couple of slices, call it a day. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go gummy bears and Tootsie Pop.
There you go.
Love a good gummy bear. Again, to balance with the chocolate, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of fruit flavor in there. And then the Tootsie Pop, it's 2 for 1. It's 2 treats in one.
It is.
I like the Tootsie Roll, but the Tootsie Pop's fantastic. The chocolate Tootsie Pop, the red, I don't know what red is, but it's good. Strawberry, cherry, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The orange Tootsie Pop, sneaky good. Sneaky good, the orange Tootsie Pop. The orange and chocolate go so well together. But yeah, Tootsie Pop. Okay, so that brings me to my 15. Reese's Cups, Twix, Skittles, Gummy Bears, and the Tootsie Pop to bring it home. That's my $15.
All right. I'm not mad at it. Man, even though I think Milky Way is better than Snickers, that $5 and I would choose peanut M&Ms over regular M&Ms.
Same.
I just feel like most people wouldn't. That $5 row is stacked. I highly considered just picking 3 things from that.
Sure, call it a day.
Yeah, but
I think that's the one row that they probably got right. And you're right. I also prefer peanut M&Ms over regular. Not sure if the rest of the world does, but the $5 line is, I think they nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good stuff. Dan, we need to put our picks out there and have people vote on who had the best lineup.
With the best lineup. I like that.
But, just if you got anything out of this, folks, respect wafers, respect nougats. Talk a little bit more about them this Halloween season.
There you go. It's the year of the nougat.
And toss a little cookie crunch in there.
That's it. That's all we need. To well balance.
All right, Dan, where are we going next? We going drinking games or we going brunch court?
Let's go drinking games here. And Chris, as we kick off this topic, everybody that's probably listening to this podcast has played a drinking game at some point in their lives.
Of course, after the age of 21.
Of course, yes. Only only after the age of 21. Um, your letters, your phone calls, your emails have finally been answered and responded to. Ladies and gentlemen, Monopoly, yes, the actual legitimate Monopoly has released Monopoly Board Crawl. And it is exactly what it sounds like, Monopoly, but with drinking. I'm going to read you a little bit about how the game works, and then we're going to dive into this. Okay. There's no money involved, no bankruptcies, no wondering if the banker is truly playing a clean game. Instead, the game focuses on drinks and dares. And the goal is the same, to collect the most title deeds as you can by the end. The board has Monopoly style spaces, but with a party twist. Instead of classic properties like Boardwalk and Park Place, you'll be landing on locations like Karaoke Bar and Mechanical Bowl. Because who wouldn't? While at its core, it's still about collecting the most properties instead of dealing with money. You pay with sips of drinks. Whether it's alcohol or not is entirely up to you. And the game is supposed to go quick, unlike traditional Monopoly, because you're thinking, holy hell, Monopoly takes a long time to finish. We're going to get blasted. This is designed to only take about 30 minutes of your time. Some different elements is that you can steal properties from other players by completing a challenge or a dare to do so. For instance, someone can steal the nightclub card from you if they land on the property and happen to have met a famous person deemed more famous by your group than the one that you've met, which means the property can change hands multiple times during play. Chance cards offer a mix of dares and truth or dare style questions. These cards can lead to anything from funny confessions to unexpected tasks. If you prefer to pass on the challenge, you simply take a drink. So, Chris, they finally again answered the prayers, the newsletter, the emails, the letters. We have Monopoly Board Crawl. Your immediate reaction?
I like the
Uh-oh.
idea. I like the idea. I want this to
Okay.
be I just want it to be a bit more ruthless
Oh,
because
okay.
I really like the idea of playing a game where, as pretend, you get drunk and lose everything. I like that the idea of that. Let's really put some stakes on it. I want there to be a
Yeah.
banker. And there's always some fun
Okay.
involved in like the person who's the bank, like screw you, okay? The person who's the banker during the game. Nobody likes the banker.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of like everybody getting drunker and then getting madder at that person. We flip the board
Oh,
when
okay.
we're sober, okay? I I I just really want that type of energy throughout where I feel this version of the game is creating more fun, which is fine. But when I think about playing Monopoly, I don't think this is going to be fun. So if we're gonna do the drunk version of it, no, 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 no. Let's be real here. And I'm out to watch you get blacked out and lose your home. Like that's what I want. So I appreciate what they're doing here.
Okay.
This is probably right in line with what most people would want to do, but I want to get a bit more ruthless and cutthroat.
You know what? I appreciate the freshness of your take. I wasn't expecting that at all, but I'm like all totally on board. You're right. Like banker should be like bartender,
Yeah.
and they're just serving you up things you don't want and didn't order. And yeah, there needs to be this is too let's have a good time. Let's laugh and joke and have a couple of sippies. Like no. No, let's get intense here. Let's
Mhm.
bring up the intensity and drink at the same time and watch you go bankrupt,
Yeah,
lose your homes.
and like the regular game, like I want you to be drunken in jail. Like I just want that.
DUI. You pulled the DUI card. You go to prison.
Yeah, I think that's the
That's what
way.
we should be promoting.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's right. That's the way it happens. That's the way it goes.
Learn. That's
That's
how
the
you
way
learn.
this game should be. Yeah, that's how you learn. This is about life lessons. It's not about fun. Um, and like you get so drunk that you have to jump on the train because you're not allowed to drive anymore. I don't know.
Right.
I think that's more of the lane I want to be in.
Like you have money and like you land, you're like, oh, you're about to blow a point 20. You have to pay for an Uber. So that's where the money comes into play.
I like
You have to
that.
pay for a ride home
And
that you
it
weren't expecting to.
and it comes with a breathalyzer. Like I like that. I think that's I think
Comes with an actual breathalyzer.
they should have let us design this game.
Wow. That's incredible. I'm totally on board with this now. Yes, screw this. This isn't fun. It needs to be more intense.
Because
It
this
needs
is
to be much more
fun.
intense.
Because this is fun, it's not fun.
It's not fun. Wow. Well, do you have let's talk about other board games then, because this could be the start of something great. Maybe we have like a whole, maybe we partner with Hasbro and these companies about other traditional board games that we grew up playing that could be turned into
Yeah.
a drinking game. Just to kick things off, Chris. I think the game Sorry would be a perfect
Oh,
drinking
for
game.
sure. Yeah.
Right? Like when you just jump over somebody, they have to take a sip.
Yeah.
But when you like land on someone, knock them back home, they either have to take a shot or finish their drink.
Yep.
And that's a classic drinking game from a board game. Sorry. That's like the first one that came to mind for me.
I like that. Yeah, that one popped in my head immediately too, because it was like, again, I don't know why I want these games to be so aggressive, but like it's just, you know, there's built-in conflict there in that game, and I think it would go well. I did a little bit of research just because I forget how a lot of board games used to go, but I found an article that had some pretty good ideas. One of them was for the game
Okay.
Life, where as you're going through, if you land on a spot that has something that you actually haven't done in your own life yet, you drink. And so for younger folks,
Oh,
yeah, for younger folks who would typically people who play drinking games are of the younger variety, that could probably
yeah.
get you pretty shit faced. So I liked that idea.
Yeah. Ooh, that is a good one. Like buy a house. Oh, nope.
Yeah.
21 years old. Not doing that yet. Finish my drink. I
Yeah.
like that one. That's next level. That's
Mm.
next level. How about Battleship? Pretty simple.
Oh
Drink
yeah.
every time you get hit, and you finish your drink when you sink a battleship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, let's go. That's a classic one right there that could easily be turned into a drinking game.
And if you want to really get drunk, every time you pick one and miss, you have to take a drink. Right?
Ooh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Ooh, good one. Good one.
Um, this one, this one, you could be drinking for hours, maybe even days. But the game Risk, Dan, have you ever played the game Risk?
Oh, yeah, been a minute because it takes many days and weeks to play it.
Yeah. Um, it's a long game, and you're trying to like basically take over the world via warfare. Um, but I think that one could go really well because you're constantly battling over countries, right? Or territories. So like
Yeah.
each time you lose a battle, like there's an easy, okay, drink here thing. And then there could also
Yes.
be some funny things you do where it's like if you lose a territory but then you take it back, or if you beat somebody with a smaller army, like they have to drink more or something like.
Mm,
I feel like there's different ways you could build in rules to um
levels
yeah, just drink
with
for
it.
hours. Yeah.
You lost Czechoslovakia. Finish your drink.
Oh, maybe you
I
could
like
even
it.
have drinks for the drinks that are, native to the territory. So like
Oh, there we go.
if you lose Russia, you got to take a shot of vodka, you know?
Oh, I like it. I like your
Mm,
thinking there.
yeah.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. I'm gonna go in the other direction to like a kiddie game. Chris, how about Operation?
Oh yeah.
Because the more you buzz, the more you get buzzed. There's your tagline right there. Right. Every time you get one of those, another drink. Can you imagine trying to play Operation, even just like remotely feeling a little tipsy? Can you imagine?
It's incredibly hard when you're sober, so yeah,
Right.
it's
And like they intensify the vibration in the little tool. That's what they should do, where you're like feeling the vibration and not, it doesn't just go, meh. Like
Yeah,
you should really intensify that and just can imagine, oh, the more you buzz, the more you get buzzed. Operation
I love it.
drinking game.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The last one I have is the game Guess Who. You remember that game?
Yes. Yes.
Where if people don't remember it, it's like you're sitting in front of this thing with all these cards that are flipped up. And the person on the other side, I forget how it like starts, but like they're supposed to find a specific person. Like you have one card or something like that. They're supposed to find that person, but they can't see who's in front of you, so they have to keep
Yeah.
guessing, making guesses. And then like if they get it right or wrong, like sometimes you'll flip the cards down until there's one left, and then they guess the person. Um,
Yes.
I'm, and I can tell as this process goes through, I'm a big volume drinker fan. Okay. Let it be known, I invented a drinking game in college that involved 100 cups of beer. So that might
Yes.
be part of the reason why I'm trying to make these all so aggressive. But I think with Guess Who, like either you get it right or you get it wrong. So if you get it right, the other person drinks. If you get it wrong, you drink. And so you're one or the other person every turn is drinking. And I think that that's perfect.
Right, because you're asking for basically, does this person have, and then some sort of like physical trait,
Right.
brown hair? Are they wearing a hat? Do they have glasses? And you're right. I actually had Guess Who on here as well for the same thing. So every time
Nice.
you're wrong, you drink, and vice versa if they get something right. And then if you guess the wrong person, if you're down to the wire and you guess the wrong person, yeah, we got to get like intensify it. It's
Shotgun.
like finish your drink, shot, yeah, something, because that's big time. That's a big time miss. So. Wow, we got a whole lineup of drinking games right there.
Hasbro.
And Monopoly
Hasbro.
should have just
Hit us up.
listened to us in the first place. You're right. You're right. I think you've solved the riddle on how to make Monopoly, the drinking game, board crawl better. So
Yeah, we'd have to call it something different.
just yeah, that's also kind of yeah, it's fine. It's
Like I
fine.
want
It's fine.
friendships to end at the end of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's how
Because that's what happens with regular Monopoly, anyways.
exactly. It takes like a month to get over the Monopoly game that you
Yeah.
just played. So like
Yes.
let's be a bit more real. All right.
I
I
like
like
it.
it.
I like it.
Dan, we got some brunch court items. You want to fire through these?
Let's fire away. We haven't done brunch court in a minute, but we do have four. And looking at the clock, yeah, we'll kind of go through these quickly. We have four, so we'll start with, I think, in the order that you have them, Chris. Thanksgiving is just around the corner. Believe it or not, it really is. And so, for the first time, we have limited edition Pepperidge Farm stuffing seasoned farmhouse rolls. I mean, how incredible and how long it took for us to get these. They're rolls made with sage and onion, taste like traditional stuffing. They can be eaten on their own or used as bread for Thanksgiving leftover sandwiches, little sliders, little slidey guys. I am so excited for these. I don't know about you, but I love me some stuffing, and the idea of like a leftover Thanksgiving slider, because that's stuffing can be a rough reheat, right? It can be a little soggy.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful. You got to go in the oven, and sometimes you don't got that time. I'm gonna be eating these on their own. I'm gonna be dipping these in gravy. I'm gonna be putting on some ponds this holiday season because I'm gonna be loaded up on seasoned rolls. Shout out to Pepperidge Farm.
Yeah. Shout out. This is I just want to put everybody on to this ahead of time so that you're aware. Stuffing is the new pumpkin spice. You are going to see more and more and more things
Wow.
in fall with stuffing seasoning. It's happening already. This
You have
is
some grocery exclusive that I don't have access to. Like
this is
I'm the grocery guy, but
this is the tip of the iceberg. I'm telling you, Dan, this is the next thing that you're gonna see everybody
wow.
over the next this year. Certainly, you're gonna see it in some places where you're like, oh, I've never seen that before. Over the next 3 to 5 years, this stuffing is gonna become pumpkin spice level because everybody loves stuffing, right? Everybody loves
Right.
stuffing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why not get it in other, like I've seen stuffing seasoned popcorn already.
Oh, let's go. Yeah.
And every I'm not had any of this stuff yet, but I've heard that like all of it is phenomenal. I've heard all of it is phenomenal. So I would guess that this is the same. I gotta dip my toe into this to see what it's like. But I mean, I think we're this is the new trend. This is the new trend. You're gonna have Starbucks is gonna have something stuffing in the next 3 to 5 years. I'm telling you right now.
Stuffing spice latte. Let's
Yep,
go.
that's
Let's
right. Stuffing spice latte. It's coming. I'm
and the
telling you,
old
man.
SSL. The SSL is coming soon.
It's coming. I
Wow.
promise you.
I
Promise you.
love that. Great insight. Great take from you.
Yeah.
And who doesn't love stuffing? Okay, good. I'm glad everybody's just as excited as I am. Here's something I'm not excited about. And Chris, you huge bacon fan. Um, the world huge cinnamon toast crunch fan. Who asked for this? This is Hormel Black Label Cinnamon Toast Crunch Cinnadust Bacon. Okay. It's exactly what you think it is. This is out now. And it is bacon with a cinnamon toast crunch cinnadust on, I guess, the outside, right?
Yeah.
It's the outside rub of the bacon. Chris, I got to go to you first here because you're big bacon guy.
I am. And so my take on this is probably going to surprise you, but I'll tell you why. I I think that this actually probably tastes good. And
Really?
I think the Cinnamon Toast Crunch uh logo and cross branding here is what's going to throw most people off. But if you just think about like maple bacon and like if you take some type of maple bacon with a little bit of a cinnamon rub on it, like that
Brown sugar bacon.
exactly brown sugar. I think this is going to
Okay.
taste exactly like that. But the fact that they're calling it Cinnamon Toast Crunch, it's a great way for like two companies to make money at once. But I hate that cross branding, but I think it
Yeah.
actually probably tastes good.
All right. So maybe you've convinced me a bit here. Yeah. With the maple brown sugar bacon, always very good. And it does. It seems like it's a weird crossover, but it probably works. It's crazy that it's taken so long for Cinnamon Toast Crunch to like collaborate with anything and everything now. It's been the greatest cereal for a long time.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden people are realizing it.
Yeah.
All right. So you got me at least willing to try this. It just
It's
seems weird.
it's an off-putting collaboration when you see that
Yes.
logo.
Right. Yes. Okay. Well put. All right. You convinced me. You convinced me that that can work. All right. Now let's get a little weird. Okay. You thought that was weird. You thought that was weird. Let's get weird. And we're going to have to go north of the border to get weird here.
Of course.
So, of course, right? So, what you are looking at just looks like a traditional blue box craft mac and cheese, right? Looks delicious, but you go, what is this? What's the Colonel doing on the box? Yes, that's right. It is KFC original recipe flavored craft dinner. That's why it's KD because it's
Okay.
craft dinner in Canada. Okay. Again, only in Canada. It's the traditional boxed craft mac and cheese with the Colonel's blend of 11 herbs and spices. And it's going to be soon to follow up with the craft dinner chicken sandwich, which will be out at KFC's, where it's mac and cheese on the chicken sandwich.
Of course.
So, looking at this down at its core, it's craft mac and cheese with the Colonel's KFC, 11 herbs and spices infused in the dust packet. Let's just call it what it is, the cheese dust packet. I'll jump in. I think this probably is delicious. I think it's probably super tasty. I mean, how could it be? How could it be bad? How could it be bad? Because we've seen like the taco season box mac and cheese and stuff like that, and they do a variety of like one-off flavors and things like that. I mean, KFC, the Colonel, he's the king of herbs and spices. How could this not be good? How could this not be good?
It's probably fine. Man, I have stuck there. There are a few things that I have stuck to in the history of this podcast that I will not go back on. And it's just that I never see anybody at KFC. I never see anybody at KFC, but like Bojangles is packed all the time. Like Popeyes is
Yeah.
packed all the time. Raising Cane's is packed all the time. I would just rather somebody else's herbs and spices be on my mac and cheese. I love putting stuff on mac and cheese. I love put a little Tony C's on the mac and cheese,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and
I
that
love that.
and that rhymes. Like I just if you put this in a lineup of all the other options I could get, I wouldn't pick it. And that's fine
It
because
is
it probably tastes fine, but I just don't get KFC. I don't get the allure.
it is odd that Kentucky Fried Chicken, you know, in the United States coming from Kentucky is probably more popular internationally than it is in our own country.
It's probably
It's
true.
like, guys,
Yeah.
which is why this is only in Canada. And it is KFCs are everywhere. I've been all many places around the world, and there's always a KFC. There's always a KFC. I don't understand it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a good point. That's a fair point. It's a fair point.
I don't get it. All right.
Yeah. Well, our friends in Canada, if you're listening, hook us up. Hook up your boys. Okay.
Yeah.
And last but not least, as we wrap up Brunch Court here this week, I don't even know where to begin with this. Um, this is from a brand called Good Pop, who does ice cream.
Ironic.
And yeah, right. Right. Very ironic for what I'm about to explain to you. They've teamed up with the good folks at Ore-Ida. Yes, you're like, oh, fries. I know Ore-Ida potatoes.
Mhm.
They have launched fudgin'. Why do they do this? Why can't we use the and symbol? Fudgin' vanilla French fry pops. They are inspired by French fries dipped in milkshakes, which psychopaths do all the time. They're available nationwide for $9.99. I don't know where, but they have it's a vanilla oat milk frozen dessert because you can't use ice cream with a fudge coating with like crispy potato bits in the fudge coating. So it's like a crunchy potatoy chocolate shell and then vanilla oat milk frozen dessert inside a popsicle. I don't even know where to begin here, Chris. I
Yeah,
don't.
I'm normally emphatically no on most things we do in Brunch Court. Today I've been pretty lenient, but this is garbage. I don't know who I have like obviously seen in I don't think I've ever seen it in real life. I think I've seen in like TV shows and movies people dip a French fry in a milkshake. This isn't even a
Only
milkshake.
in commercials.
This is an ice cream bar. It's not a milkshake. So whoever sits down and has an ice cream bar and French fries at the same time. Like I don't get who I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. I think it's garbage.
I don't either. I really don't. I mean, if we can get this, if I can look out for it and we can get this on Brunch Court, I don't know if I'd even be willing to try this live because I'm not a guy that I don't like dipping French fries in milkshakes. Again, I think that's weird. And I know there's probably people listening that are like, it's delicious. Like it's salty and sweet. No, nope, nope, nope. You get your fudging pops and get them out of here. The tagline is "We dipped it, so you don't have to." How clever!
Okay.
And that was Brunch Court, my friend.
Yeah,
Intense one.
Because everybody wanted that. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rida. Good pop. Come on. All right, let's rip through some tunes, Dan. What's on your list this week?
Let's do it. The Aces. I've been so anxious to talk about this song, to put it on the playlist. I know I was off last week and we were off the week before that because I was able to hear it live the week before it was released. I got to see the Aces on their first ever headline tour in Pittsburgh, which is crazy given that Dee Dee and I kind of discovered them with a very small crowd 7 years ago in Los Angeles, and now having them on a headlining tour was incredible to see. They were amazing. The song is called "The Magic," and it's super good. It's super good. We've been telling you about the Aces for 7 years, literally on this podcast. Let's go, people. Get on, listen to the song, enjoy it.
Nice. So last week I came back from Disney and had not listened to any music, and I mentioned a bunch of things that I was looking forward to listening to. Now I have listened to them, so I'm going to give you specific songs. The first is the album that Kill Lincoln put out called No Normal, and the song Stink Bug is my favorite on the album. So I'm
Oh,
putting that on the playlist as my first choice, Dan.
ironic because those things are the worst. Um, I'm gonna go with Half Alive for my next selection. They released a song called Sophie's House, and this may be my new favorite song from this band. They had they just like they have this great unique sound, and they kind of just stick to that you can tell it's a Half Alive song when you're listening to it quickly. Um, and this one kind of has like a dancey, upbeat catchiness to its chorus, which is really unique. Because in fact, when you see Half Alive perform, the lead singer kind of dances, and it's kind of amazing. So Sophie's House from Half Alive.
There you go. The next one is a band called Angel. They put
Oh
out
yeah.
an album called Feeling Not Found. I don't know how to describe this band, Dan, other than I really like them. And they're like in that kind of punkish, kind of alternative lane. But each song, they do so many different things within each song that it's a lot of fun. I'm going to put the song Dirty Mirror Selfie on the playlist this week.
Good friend of the program, who happened to be, I won't even say who he was. Big fan of that band, though. Big fan of the band.
There you go.
He may have had something to do with the story I told at the beginning of the podcast. Anyways, last one for me is from a band called The Rex, and they're a great pop rock group out of Los Angeles. And they had a song called Favorite Liar that got very popular a few years back. But this new song called Always Every Time has, I think, the sound to be even bigger than that one. I can just hear it. It's just, it sticks with you. I'm hoping this is a catalyst for them to get even more and more listens. And that just kind of brings them into the spotlight a little bit more. So check out The Rex and Always Every Time.
Nice. Well, Dan, the last one I have is brand new music from friend of you and I, Goalkeeper. They put out an EP last week.
Yes, they did.
The song Black Hole is really good. I enjoyed it. It is the beginning of the album, so I'll put that one on there. And then I hope y'all go and listen to the entire, sorry, not album, the entire EP. 4 songs, 12 minutes, quick and easy listen. But love those guys. They do good work. They put out good music. They keep the whole pop punk trio thing alive, which I'm a big fan of, and I hope everybody enjoys it.
Good people. Good people, those guys.
Good people. They're was it their drummer and you? I feel like you guys have a very similar vibe.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember
Very
that
much.
vividly. Yeah.
Very much. Yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff, Dan. We covered a lot of ground here today.
We did.
Do you have any,
We did.
as Didi always asks, do you have any final thoughts or takeaways?
Yeah, big time takeaways. Mostly coming from you, Chris. Like pay more attention to the nougat and the wafer, like the year of the noug, and look out for the stuffing spiced latte coming your way at Starbucks in the near future because it's the year of stuffing, I guess. And avoid those warhead bologna slices at Halloween this year.
2024, get stuffed. Get stuffed. It's the brunch breakdown.